You've always dreamed of being a professional artist, and now that dream is within reach. You're putting together your portfolio for art programs, but as the application deadline approaches, you find yourself avoiding the canvas, feeling unmotivated. Why does motivation seem so elusive, and what is it really? Motivation is the force that drives us to take action. Psychologists define it as the desire or impulse to initiate and sustain behavior. In simpler terms, it's the energy behind everything we do. Understanding where this energy comes from is key to maintaining it. Motivation generally falls into two categories, intrinsic and extrinsic. Intrinsic motivation comes into play when the activity itself is the reward. Take playing video games, for example. The enjoyment of the game is what drives you to play, not any external reward. When you're doing something because it feels right in the moment, because it's meaningful or interesting to you, that's intrinsic motivation. On the flip side, extrinsic motivation is driven by outcomes. Think about going to the dentist. No one really enjoys it, but the desire for healthy teeth motivates you. Extrinsic motivation includes working towards rewards like praise, power, or money. These rewards, however, tend to be delayed, like receiving a bonus at the end of a quarter or winning a competition after months of preparation. While extrinsic rewards can be tempting, they don't always lead to long-lasting motivation. A study in 2017 found that people focused solely on the external outcomes of their New Year's resolutions were less likely to stick with them. What actually predicted persistence was the enjoyment people found in the pursuit itself. In other words, you're more likely to stay committed to a fitness routine if you enjoy the activities, rather than just focusing on building muscle. Research consistently shows that high levels of intrinsic motivation, whether it's for school, work, or exercise, are much more likely to keep you engaged over the long term. But in reality, our motivation isn't always purely intrinsic or extrinsic. Take studying for a history exam. You might be intrinsically motivated if you're fascinated by ancient Egypt, but you might also be driven by the extrinsic desire to get a good grade or avoid disappointing your parents. However, having multiple motivators doesn't always help. A study on military cadets found that those driven by both intrinsic motivators, like self-improvement, and extrinsic ones like landing a great job, were less motivated than cadets who were driven by just one. These cadets performed worse and were less likely to graduate. This is called the over-justification effect, the idea that adding extrinsic motivators can actually dilute the power of intrinsic motivation when you already feel driven to succeed. But this only becomes an issue when you're already motivated. If you're facing a task that's dull or uninteresting, adding extrinsic rewards can help. Think of it this way. While you might never love doing the laundry, it could feel more manageable if you promise yourself a reward afterward, like watching your favorite TV show, or get some praise from a friend or family member. Motivation is complex. There are times when, despite your passion for a goal, finding the energy to start can be tough. But the good news is, there are ways to boost your drive. One powerful strategy is to focus on building intrinsic motivation by making the task more enjoyable. Ask a friend to join you or create a fun playlist. These little adjustments can help you get started and keep you on track for the long haul.